Welcome back, hot dogs. We got another Super Saturday to review. Hopefully y'all ready to kick it. We got a video instead of a live today, but you know it's still getting premiere, so you know we'll be on somebody's news feed. Hopefully you get happy to see me. If not, we'll see what it do. You know, we do videos too, so you can see the actual review process we do when we do reviews over here. You know, sometimes we do them right, sometimes we don't. Hell, sometimes I just gotta get it in with my phone. But we make it happen. Super Saturdays every week, right? Something for you.
Did you know that Sun Wukong is immortal 7 different ways? Sun Wukong is a mythical being from the novel Journey to the West. In addition to being able to lift mountains on his shoulders and leap 50,000 kilometers in a single bound, he is also immortal in 7 different ways. The first time he became immortal was when he trained with the monk Suputi for 7 years, obtaining a secret formula that granted him immortality. Later, he managed to erase his name and that of his entire tribe from the Book of the Dead, making himself immortal a second time. For the third time, he ate all the peaches in the Garden of the Celestial Peaches, which granted him immortality. Then, at the banquet of the Queen Mother of the West, he drank the celestial wine, becoming immortal for the 4th time. Still drunk, Wukong ate the pills of longevity, gaining immortality for the 5th time. The Monkey King was then placed in Laozi's furnace to be burned alive, but instead, he burned away his mortality, thus becoming immortal for the 6th time. Finally, Wukong found some ginseng fruits and ate them all, obtaining immortality for the 7th time.
Episode 5, there's something involving the reveal of Universe 7 to Goku, yet it being such a huge revelation in Dragon Ball Super, the Battle of Gods movie, and even the Dragon Ball Super manga as well. What's going on? Why is Universe 7 being mentioned in Dragon Ball Daima? Does this create a problem with continuities and consistency? Because if you remember in Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, Goku was fighting Beerus, and right after their battle, Beerus revealed that he's the god of destruction in this universe. There are actually 12 other universes, and this information, this big shock to think there are so many stronger people out there, that the universe is, well, it's a big world in Dragon Ball. This information was a shock to us as the audience, and of course in verse it was a shock to Goku, causing him to faint. Rightfully so. But that's the Battle of Gods movie, that's Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. In the Dragon Ball Super anime, I did check through it, and he doesn't actually reveal to Goku there in the Battle of Gods saga, at least from what I've checked, because Beerus goes to blow up the earth and he just falls asleep mid-blast. He might have said it before that, but I just remember Goku fainting, saying you don't decide someone's limits. But in the anime, it's definitely revealed here in episode 28, the God of Destruction from Universe 6. His name is Champa. Whis explains what Universe 6 is, Universe 7, setting up the tournament. Goku doesn't have a Scooby-Doo at this point. If you're watching just the Dragon Ball Super anime, nobody has a Scooby-Doo. This is the big reveal. He talks about the 12 different universes. It is a big deal. So what am I actually getting at here? Well, in Dragon Ball Daima, episode 5, there's a guy who's going to go collect Vegeta and Piccolo, and he wants directions. Supreme Kai basically says, go to a planet called Earth in Universe 7, in front of Goku, to which Goku follows up casually with, everyone's at a temple that floats in the sky. He doesn't even bat an eye at Universe 7. What the heck does that mean? What's going on? Has he even put 2 and 2 together? Is this a big deal? Personally, I don't think this is a big deal, and here's why. And if anybody thinks this is a hate video because we're discussing Dragon Ball Daima in a way that's not glazing it 10 out of 10 every single second, get over yourself, toot your horn somewhere else. People are allowed to discuss what they want and enjoy it at the same time. It's crazy, isn't it, that you can enjoy something and discuss it? Ooh, some people don't like that. You either love it non-stop or you hate it. Urgh. Choose a team, everybody. Urgh. The Universe 7 lore, that is new lore that was revealed in Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, before the Super anime and manga even took place. That was the new lore, moving into the future, and yes, it was a big revelation back then. That new lore is also being used in Dragon Ball Daima. Even though Daima is set in the timeline before Battle of Gods, whether it's the same timeline or not, whatever, in the whole picture of Dragon Ball, that big chart they have right in front of them saying all key events that happens in the entire franchise, Daima's before Battle of Gods in terms of age. And they're applying that law to Dragon Ball Daima. So in terms of Supreme Kai mentioned in Universe 7, they're right in front of Goku. From the office, from the writing standpoint, we'll talk about inverse in a second, but from a writing standpoint, they're just applying law that's been established, well, over the last 10 years now. Not thinking too much about it. Is it careless mentioning it before Battle of Gods? Yes, it is, if that was the intention of just throwing it straight in there without thinking much about what the characters would think. Goku wasn't surprised until he heard about it in Battle of Gods or the Universe 6 tournament. But then there comes the inverse answer. This is Goku. Someone says Universe 7. Well, hey guys, Universe 7, what does that mean? Is that some kind of dessert? Does he really care? Is he piecing it together in his head? Has it clicked for him? Inverse, you could just say no. Goku really doesn't think what they're saying is that much of a big deal right now. Headcanon and theories could be that Goku just thinks Universe 7, well, that's just their code name for it. There's the other world, there's hell, there's all those different places, perhaps where they live in the living world. They consider that number 7 out of the different sections or whatever. That's just my headcanon that I could apply to Goku. Basically, he doesn't seem to care. He hasn't seemed to notice. Now in episode 1, Supreme Kai's evil brother here, Warp Sama does mention about where do you want to go, and he does say Universe 7. So for the audience, for them they're aware of Universe 7. Goku's not present there. I'm talking in terms of Goku. I mean, even if you want to go with the Dragon Ball Super manga here, Beerus mentions here, this world here is known as the 7th universe. I am the 7th god of destruction. There are 12 universes in all, blah, blah, blah. And Goku's like, and kind of like the movie version, except he doesn't faint here. But that's the whole point. He's laughing in a crazy way, like, what is all this information? So yes, you could see this as an inconsistency in terms of applying the law there in front of a character who was so shocked about hearing it in Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods and Dragon Ball Super. But then you can apply headcanon theories about it. Well, Goku just really didn't take notice of that particular part. Like, it's not a big deal in overall Dragon Ball because, let's be honest, Dragon Ball is not the most neat and tidy show going series to series, even episode to episode in the same series. There are inconsistencies that we have to apply headcanon and theories to make sense of it. Some things in Dragon Ball, they just don't make sense. Case in point, Goku was born with a power level of 2 on a planet that has 10 times gravity. He is weaker than a human. Why isn't he crushed? Don't worry about it. This is Dragon Ball. Is that okay? Is that cool? Well, that's up to you. For me, it doesn't really bother me, but I find the discussion points interesting, and I just like to wonder what the hell's going on in people's heads and what the hell's going on in the characters' heads, because we know there have been retcons in Dragon Ball over the years, and you're just wondering, well, what's going to be the next one? Was this just an accident? Are they tweaking the law just a little bit? So many questions, and I hope your answers in the comments are just as interesting. You guys let me know what you think about this. Of course, it's not a big deal, but it is an inconsistency, right? Especially if Goku is there hearing about Universe 7 like it's not a big deal. I just know it was a massive bombshell in Dragon Ball Super at the time. So you guys let me know what you think about that. What do you think about the continuities right now? Is Daima going to be its own thing? Is Supreme Kai and Capito going to fuse back together? What other inconsistencies are there that I haven't talked about in this video? And if you do mention them, I will credit you in a future video and we will talk about them, discuss them, try to open up those topics, because this is all for fun, guys. And I just want to give a massive shout out to Digital Logos. Thank you so much for bringing this to my attention, dude. I definitely didn't notice it when I was watching it through, but it's good to go back and check there. And thanks for the timestamps as well. I appreciate it, man. In a nutshell, there are multiple universe-sized dimensions in Universe 7 itself. Goku's been to a few of them through his life. He's traveled through them. So when he hears Universe 7, I feel like he just heard Universe 7 and didn't think much of it because there are different places in the universe model itself. And maybe he thought it's just the name of the place where they live in the living world. Just my opinion though. There could be more to it.
Kefla got hit right in the face like a Monday, boy. What? Rewind it back.
I'll crush you in an instant! I can only imagine Bulma's reaction if I transformed into that again.
You're making a big mistake. Where do you think you're going? Pity, what a waste of talent. Bye. Not today. Back off. Haven't you away? A tough guy like you should be able to face the truth.
Are you okay?
Shouts out to beerus versus ligor. The finale. It's not too shocking.
Jesus Christ, really?
Don't forget to become a member of Unrelent Gaming's Patreon for exclusive manga content and early access. Isn't that right, Seth?
I already joined his Patreon today. Tons of great stuff on there, actually. But did you really have to blow up the city?
Yes.
Blew up the domino. You blew up the domino, and you're laughing. Do you realize the f***ing crisis here?
And you will be next. Unless you subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications right now.
Or else what? You'll aggressively scream another man's name for several hours?
Kakarot! Kakarot!
And so it looks as though it has all now finally come down to this, as with both Lord Beerus and Lord Ligor looking to lay it all on the line in seeing which of them is truly the strongest and most dominant god of destruction among them all. I can only hope for a miracle here for Lord Beerus, because anything less than his absolute best will surely prove to backfire on him by the very end.
Our story now continues following the initial battle involving Universe 20's God of Destruction Ultra Ligor having to battle against Universe 7's God of Destruction Ultra Beerus, as with both destroyers having to lay everything on the line and simply having to find out as to which destroyer between them is in fact the stronger God of Destruction, was when Goku went on to then chime back in. Hey, so what do you think, Vegeta? Since Lord Beerus still appears to want to keep going out there against Lord Ligor, how long do you think that is going to continue to go before one of them emerges as the winner of this battle, with Vegeta responding, well, it's hard for us to say for sure, especially with Lord Beerus having reached the heights of power that he recently did alongside with Gohan and Broly, but what's even more notable is how both you and I are dead last when compared to what it was that we had seen and experienced here today, and so that much should be more than alarming to you, especially if we hope to catch up and surpass them. And so for all it's worth, we should go and take notice of what we've seen and the battles that we have experienced, Vegeta continues, because if anything, this is very telling of where we stand, and if we wish to go and catch up in order for us to compete against the likes of any of them, especially against both of these gods of destruction out there, then as soon as we go and get back into our world, we must start training immediately, Kakarot, with Goku responding, well, you're not really wrong here, because that's actually the first thing that I also intend on doing once we get back, but man, even despite with Lord Beerus being as strong as he currently is, seeing him struggle out there against Lord Ligor like this has really gotten me worried out there for him, to which it was only interestingly enough within that moment as Ligor was then shown having to grab onto Beerus' arm before shown having to slam his body down onto the ground was when Ligor then went on to respond, now you listen here, God of Destruction, for you may have endured what I have delivered onto you thus far, but you and I both know that you will not go as far as to outlast me for much longer here, God of Destruction. And while I doubt that even with your hardened body will it hold out here against my onslaught for much longer, Ligor continues, I ask you again to consider your position here against me, for you will not win, which is why it is best for you just to stay down. For you can already see that despite what it is that you do, and no matter how hard you attempt to fight here against me, Ligor continues upon being shown having to throw Beerus on over into the distance, you will only manage to go and take yourself so far here against me, which is why it would be wise for you just to go and give up now before this continues to grow worse for you, God of Destruction. Oh, I will never go and give into this battle, especially if I've already gotten this far here against you, Beerus went on to then stick his arm out by responding, and so, while I grow very annoyed at the fact that I can't seem to break through your guard, maybe if I go and start to erase certain body parts from you, will it only go as far as to favor me in this battle? But then, it was only just before Beerus had the opportunity to go as far as to Hakai any one of Ligor's limbs was when Ligor went on to then shoot projections from his eyes by responding, as if I would be foolish enough to allow for you to go and remove any one of my body parts in the time for you to go and try to gain any sort of leverage here against me would be a mistake. Whoa, wait, was Lord Beerus really just about to go and Hakai one of Lord Ligor's body parts just to go and gain leverage against him in this battle out there, Goku questions, with Whis responding, well, knowing Lord Beerus, it really wouldn't go as far as to surprise me in seeing him having to go and do what he needs to do in order to lay claim over his opponent during a battle, and as you should go as far as to know firsthand better than anyone for yourself, Goku, but it would only appear as though with how fast Lord Ligor appears to be responding out there in battle against Lord Beerus, and I fear that it'll only continue to get worse for Lord Beerus out there, and unless he is able to bypass Lord Ligor's methods of battle, Whis continues, well then the beating will only continue to grow worse for him, I'm afraid, with Gohan responding, so do you think that is because of how much power Lord Beerus had to be shown exerting just to simply stand a chance against him, Whis? Because it almost looks like Lord Beerus is doing what he had went and done against me when I went and first had to battle him, and so do you think that maybe perhaps this is because he's completely worn out there against him, with Whis responding, well, what I will say is that it's more than likely that he has, but Lord Beerus is starting to give into his anger out there against Lord Ligor rather than having to remain calm, and that is simply because if you go and take a little closer look and seeing as to how Lord Ligor is going about this battle, then you will go as far as to see that he appears to be doing exactly as Lord Beerus ought to be shown having to do out there against him, but I'm also sure that since Lord Beerus is more than likely feeling the effects of this battle out here against Lord Ligor, could it only go as far as to explain as to why he is starting to lose his composure out there against him, with Ligor being shown having to look down at Beerus by responding, and so now give it up, Destroyer, for I do not wish to continue to go and harm you any more than I need to in order to make you walk away, and so now what's it going to be? And as the choice itself should be more than obvious to you by now on what it is that you should go and do, as Beerus went on to then quickly turn his head by then firing off a blast and responding, "Over my dead body I will, God of Destruction, for you may have gotten the better of me now, but just like you had pointed out to me earlier, you should go and take your own advice and not assume victory until you've truly beaten me, which you won't, Destroyer. And while I know there must be something that I can do in order to create the opening that I need to finally put you where you rightfully belong," Beerus continues, "I'm not going to stop looking for it until I've made sure to see you crumble beneath my feet as a result of it. And if that means having to go and hit you with everything that I have over and over and over and over again, then that is exactly what I'm going to go and do." Beerus went on to then formulate a massive sphere of destruction above him, and no matter how powerful you are and no matter how durable that body of yours is, you will not be strong enough to endure much more of these, even if you try to go and rip them apart again, because if you do, then I'll just go and continue to launch more and more of these down upon you until you are no longer able to continue, Destroyer. But then, it was shockingly enough through the smoke as Ligor went on to formulate 3 gigantic spheres of destruction above his head, only calling them different in the meantime, was when Ligor then went on to quickly respond, "Then if this is how you wish to go about this battle here against me, then allow for me to go and respond in kind, God of Destruction. For I will go and make sure that my Terra Force attack humbles you after tearing through your sphere of destruction." "Oh, nonsense," Beerus responds upon being shown throwing his sphere directly at Ligor. "But if you insist, then let us go and find out if they can. For this battle ends right now as I will go and put you in your place and establish myself as proving to you on why I am the strongest God of Destruction among them all." "Then so be it, God of Destruction," Ligor then went on to fire his attacks directly at Beerus's. "Then so now I want you to watch as even your best attempts against me prove to have been meaningless." To which, as both collisions were then shown having to happen, it would only now appear as though it is Beerus who is the one that is struggling in maintaining this battle against Ligor, as Beerus went on to then struggle by responding, "Oh, you've got to be joking. And the amount of force that he's driving into my attack, I'm unable to do anything to go and push those blasts of his back. I just can't allow for this to be on how this is all going to end, because I might be losing ground, but my spirit is far from broken. As I have seen what the abyss is like when you stare directly into it, and if I wasn't scared of what I came face to face with then, God of Destruction, then you can go and think twice if you think that I'll be scared of this one too," Beerus continues. "So, while I have the strength to hold you here at bay, you will have to go as far as to destroy me if you ever hope to see me submit to another God of Destruction, Lord Ligor. And so as long as I remain in this battle here against you, this battle here is far from over. Do you understand?" With Ligor responding, "Interesting, for even when faced against such overwhelming might, you still refuse to stand down here against me. How truly fascinating. A noble act, Lord Beerus, but what you fail to understand is that our fight here between us is already over." To which it was only in a shocking fashion as Ligor's attacks went on to combine within themselves and completely having to overtake and swallow up Beerus' sphere of destruction was when Vegeta went on to then respond, "What? So, but this is just unbelievable. For not only was that destroyer able to completely shatter through Lord Beerus' attack, but they've also went as far as to combine within themselves all into one massive attack too." "Oh, damn him," Beerus responds upon being shown putting his guard up. "I was too careless to have allowed for him to get this far here against me, but even now, I won't let this be on how I will be remembered against him, for I just have to continue to try no matter what." To which it was only seconds later, with a gigantic nuclear explosion then shown having to take place in nearly swallowing up the entire planet, was when Goku went on to then chime back in. Hold on, you guys. guys, because I don't think that this is going to end very well for us if we aren't careful. Whis, do you think that Lord Beerus is going to be okay? With Whis then responding, well, while the intensity of that attack is indeed alarming, and while Lord Beerus is undoubtedly in a very critical situation and having no other choice than to go and take those attacks head on the way he did, and I must go as far as to say that the nature of this overall battle was even something that I couldn't fully foresee, and as the power which Lord Ligor had wielded to overtake Lord Beerus' attack was not only a very calculated one, but it was also a very rigorous one on top of it all, which does raise a lot of concern here. However, and I can't help but feel as though Lord Ligor is surgically applying pressure and knowing exactly how much power to exert here against Lord Beerus, while also going as far as to hold back just enough power in having to avoid completely destroying Lord Beerus along the way. And as I will admit that it is a style that may be proving to push Lord Beerus to his absolute limits, and if anything based on what I'm seeing come from him, then I do firmly believe that it would be safe to say that Lord Ligor's restraints could even be more dangerous than his raw power itself, in ultimately having his strategy reveal a much deeper understanding of both Lord Beerus' strengths and vulnerabilities, which could also explain as to why Lord Ligor was able to push past them, it seems. And so while I don't believe that Lord Beerus had been destroyed throughout this entire contest, Whis continues, and I do however fear that this contest between them just in fact might be over, but we will wait and see. But then, it was only just within that very moment as Ultra Beerus was then shown having to emerge the smoke that was surrounding him and having to be shown extremely battle damaged, was when Ultra Beerus went on to then respond, that was far more than I had originally expected for it to be, but in the end, while my body feels as though it's about to break down on me, and while the pain that I feel coursing throughout my body is one of the most painful that I have ever felt, when this is all said and done, it was as I had told you prior, for I still stand, as I would rather endure every ounce of agony that I feel now than to ever go and submit myself to another god of destruction ever again, Beerus continues. And if that means that I'll be going down despite my efforts here against you, then I'll fight by using every shred of power that I have left to go and make sure that I go and take a piece of you with me, god of destruction. And so now go ahead. Don't be afraid of what you see. Go ahead and hit me with everything you have, and let's see if you can go and finish the job, Destroyer. For if this battle against you is destined to be my last, then so be it. But I will not surrender, for that time of having me go and do so is over, Beerus went on to then crash on down by responding. And so now go ahead. What's holding you back? Do it. Come at me and let's see what you're made of. Let's see if you really have what it takes to go and make the right call. Oh, damn him. My body doesn't have the strength to go and hold myself together here, for he has went and completely wore me down. Oh, I wasn't ready for another god of destruction to wield a higher level of power while harboring a similar form like this. For if I only had known prior, then I could have went and been ready to have faced him, even if he went and amalgamated his powers like I have. And so I must go and try to find another way here. You know, at first I couldn't quite understand on why you wouldn't go and take my offer, Ligor went on to then respond, and especially despite me having to be shown giving you multiple opportunities to go and walk away. But I can now start to see as to why that is, and while it doesn't come as a surprise to me that you'd rather die than submit yourself here against me in this battle, in the end, I just want you to go and know that it was you, Lord Beerus, who had left me with no other choice than to go and do what I needed to go and do here, Ligor says. For I didn't go and expect to have things turn out the way they did, and while I kept telling you that I did not wish to inflict further harm upon you, you instead went and ignored my concerns and proceeded to continue anyways, and because of your actions, you have now forced my hand into doing what I did not imagine that I would have to go and do here against you, god of destruction, for you had had went and left me with no other choice here, and as such, Ligor says, I instead hereby offer you my hand in the name of upholding our honor, for this battle is yours, Lord Beerus. You win, Ligor says, for this battle has shown me everything that I needed to go and know about you, and I have no desire to turn this into a death match, and so in the end, I yield this victory over to you, not because you are weak, Ligor continues, but because I respect the fight that you have given me, and so let this mark the end of our conflict, as I hereby offer you my hand as a sign of my respect, with the shocked Beerus having to then respond, What? But I don't understand, because while it's clear to us both that you stand as the stronger god of destruction between us, why would you go and instead yield to me like this? What do you stand to gain by not finishing me off, but instead grant me victory over you like this? Well, the answer is simple, Ligor responds, for I had promised myself that I would go and put an end to this contest once I had witnessed the full extent of your amalgamated power, and now that I was able to experience the full force of your ultra powers firsthand, I have decided to go and keep my promise and call this battle within your favor, God of Destruction, for it also had become clear to me throughout the course of our battle that you were never truly going to back down, nor were you willing to quit here against me, and while even despite the odds that were shown being stacked against your favor here, I knew that the only way that I was going to win would have been to have completely destroyed you, Lord Beerus. And so because of this, while I knew that you would go and fight until the very end, even if it meant having to risk your own destruction, I in fact respect you far too much to go as far as to allow for that to happen, Lord Beerus. And while I find no shame in having to yield to you, Ligor continues, I believe that there is much more that we can go and learn from one another without having to turn this into a death match here between us. And so because of this, thank you for giving me a good and honorable fight, Destroyer, as not many could, and so I hereby offer you my hand not only as a fellow Destroyer who understands the full extent of your strength, as well as the passion that you wield behind having to use it here against me, but also as a fellow god who refuses to give in to their opponents, even when having to face off against the power that is far greater than their own, Ligor says, for you in fact have my greatest form of respect for giving me a battle that was truly worthy of a god, as Beerus went on to then look up by responding, so now I see, for you are almost similar to that Saiyan mortal Goku of mine in the way you offer your mercy and compassion to your enemies, but even now, the respect that I hereby have for you is also indeed very mutual, as a shocked Vegeta and Goku then went on to quickly respond, He's giving the fight over to Lord Beerus out of respect for him? And so then he knew that the only other way that he was going to get Lord Beerus to back down here against him was if he was willing to go all out and destroy him along the way. Yeah, I think you're right, Vegeta, and since it didn't look like that was what Lord Ligor wanted to go and do, even though he was stronger than Lord Beerus, Goku says, he still went ahead and decided to go and yield to him by giving him the fight rather than destroying him as a result of it. To which it was only just upon with Beerus being shown having to be helped up by Ligor as both of them went on to then shake hands was when Beerus then went on to respond, you know, while yielding a victory to me out of respect was something that I wouldn't have anticipated to come from such a powerful and fearsome destroyer such as yourself, and I will go as far as to acknowledge that you had me beat, but while I respect you for the decision that you have made here against me, Beerus says, and I don't intend to let this defeat, despite you yielding this battle within my favor, stand without challenging it again, for next time, and I in fact intend to meet you with an even greater force that'll turn the tables within my favor, God of Destruction. That much I can promise. With Ligor responding, well, be that as it may, I will be more than honored to battle here against you again one day, Lord Beerus, as I am not only happy to call you an ally for whatever the future has in store for us, but I am hereby also proud to call you our friend. And while there is nothing left here for neither you or your mortal warriors to prove here against myself and Lord Tigron, Ligor continues, what do you say we go and take this time to heal our bodies and talk things over so that way you may all gain a better understanding of what we know, Lord Beerus, with Beerus being shown having to shake Ligor's hand by responding, well, very well then, God of Destruction, but I want you to go and fill us all in with everything that the two of you were made aware of and nothing less, so would you both agree? With Ligor responding, well, from one ally to another, you have my word that we will go go and do just that, Lord Beerus, as a little while later, after everyone was then shown having to be finally healed, it was only just before everyone was then shown having to go and take their leave was when Beerus went on to then chime back in by responding, well, now that everything here has been settled, and since we now understand as to what it was that we wanted to know, it's time for us to all go home, Whis, with Ligor responding, well, very well then, for it shall be, and while each of you head back into your own respective worlds, let us go and bid our farewell for now. And so now, thank you for standing alongside me and for assisting me and helping me get down to the bottom of what it was that we had suspected, Lord Tigron Ligor says, and as I also expect for our training to resume in the coming days, and so that way we may go and continue to hone our powers for whatever may lie in store for us in the future. And so because of everything, thank you for standing with me, with Tigron responding, and I look forward to our battle, for I couldn't have asked for a more noble god to stand alongside with than you, Lord Ligor, and as I will go and make sure to be back here and resume as to where we had left off in a few days. As Beerus went on to then shake Tigron's hand by then responding, you are indeed quite the powerhouse, and to witness your power for myself along with seeing how you were able to control your destruction with such precision, and it was an honor to have stood alongside you, Lord Tigron, with Tigron being shown shaking Beerus's hand back by responding, and I second that with you, for the feeling is mutual here between us, Lord Beerus, for it was my honor, as I will be seeing both you and the other destroyers very soon. As Goku then went on to quickly interrupt by responding, hey, so I hope that there aren't any hard feelings here between us, Lord Tigron. Goku went on to then wave by responding, and I do really hope that you know that our intentions by having to fight against you were all for the best, and so we hope that you'll understand and we'll see each other again really soon one day, with Tigron responding, well, I know that you mortals had went and meant good by waging your battle here against me, and so I do not hold anything personal against the two of you, but I do want you both to know this, for the next time that we go and meet, and we will all come to meet again one day, the two of you better be ready for another battle here against me, because one way or another, no matter how it's done or which one of you it'll be, and I do indeed intend to fight you once again, for you two are special to say the least, and so I do hope that for your sake you go and follow through with your promise for the next time we meet, Saiyans, for it was an honor to have faced you, and so until we meet again soon. As Ligor went on to then chime back in, well, if there's one thing that I will say that I am fairly certain about, it's that this will not be the last time that the two of you will have the chance in seeing us again, Ligor says, and as I'm sure that Lord Tigron also shares a similar opinion on you as well, for there will come a time where I'm sure that we will all be called together once again one day, but for now, while we go and wait for that time to come, there is still much that needs to be done along the way, Ligor continues, for there are many changes that need to be made and many obstacles that need to be completed, but while you work on these things that call for your improvement, and I have no doubt that I will be expecting to see you all grow into becoming far more powerful than how you are now, and while the cosmos beyond our own is but a vast and unpredictable place that is filled with challenges that none of us can foresee, as we go and part ways for now, I cannot say for certain on what the future may hold for any of us along the way, but if there's one thing that I do know, Ligor continues, it's that no matter what lies ahead and no matter how dire or insurmountable it may seem, I am confident that we will rise above the fire in order for us to go and meet it, for your universe has been forged by warriors who understand the meaning of struggle, and after seeing the fruits of your training for myself along with witnessing the two of you bear the power of the gods for yourselves, I am more than reassured that we will not fall along the way. But it was only interestingly enough all the while in the meantime elsewhere within a very faraway place was where a mysterious and sinister group of unknown gods of destruction happened to have been overseeing the entirety of what was shown taking place, as one of these gods of destruction that went by the name of Arachnivore went on to then respond, so the two newly appointed gods of destruction have already been alerted to our existence now, have they? Interesting, and with those mortal vermin from the 7th now also catching on as to what those destroyers have learned from their angels, we cannot go and run the risk of having our objectives be compromised if they begin to expand their curiosity further, but but even now, I cannot wait to go and sink my teeth into their flesh and draw upon their blood until there is nothing left of them, for I could almost even go as far as to taste it. But even now, after going as far as to see what we just saw, those three destroyers, the one who governed Universe 7, Universe 19, and Universe 20, who just so happened to go by Beerus, Tigron, and Ligor, are the ones to mostly watch out for, Arachnivore continues. And while those recently resurrected gods of destruction are also ones to pay very close attention to, we should have no problem in going as far as to take them all down as well, as another mysterious god of destruction that went by the name of Turlon went on to then respond, I agree, and so you can go as far as to leave more of the bigger destroyers such as Primos, Reno, and Grizzlor for me and Triceros to go and take care of in the meantime, and so that to us won't be much of a problem, as another god of destruction that went by the name of Megalodor went on to then respond, well, even if they somehow know of our existence, I doubt that they will be able to find a way to go and take action, especially if they don't know as to where we all currently are, and so that gives us time. Yes, and time is something that they do not have at the moment, but what say you, Kano? Arachnivore then went on to respond, as Kano went on to then chime in, well, I say we just go and descend upon them all now and tear them all apart while they're vulnerable, and while we can go and start by shredding those mortal warriors as a warm-up, I call by getting my hands on Universe 7's destroyer Beerus first. And so you can go and leave him all for me while the rest of you go and handle the other gods in the meantime, as the destroyer Megalodor went on to reveal himself by responding, hold steady, my brethrens, for there is no need for us to rush, and so let them go and celebrate these final moments of their fragile peace while they still can, for we will remain patient in lurking within the shadows and observing, learning, and absorbing the knowledge of their weaknesses as they blissfully remain completely unaware of what lies ahead. For we are a force which has been forged in silence, and even if they suspect of our existence to be true, then we will go and allow for them to wonder until we are given the order once the great king goes and gives us his word, Megalodor continues, as only then will we go and descend upon them like an endless darkness that no light, no matter how bright, can ever pierce. And so while we watch from across the Omniverse, let them think that they are safe while they still can, for the great king's command will be our signal, and so in the meantime, just relax, for soon enough it'll be our time to play, as it was only right then and there now during that moment where the Beyond Dragon Ball Super story of the resurrected fallen gods of destruction, the legendary God Saga manga chapter number 9 finale then comes to a close.
Shouts out to you, putting out the high quality productions. Great stories and shit.
Well, actually, I'll go ahead and take it from here, as I do want to go as far as to address something very important with our dear viewers at the moment. As before I go and give you the following information, if you aren't already a member of Unreal's Patreon community, then you are truly missing out on so much without you even knowing, because not only is the next episode already on the page, but if you want to support all of the manga content that you see and gain access to tons of exclusives along the way that range from a variety of different things, then we do encourage for you all to become members of our Patreon community today, for we will link everything down within the description box below and pinned comment section as well. Now I will go as far as to say that even though this was an extremely difficult battle for Lord Beerus to undertake, especially against another very powerful god of destruction, whom also happens to wield a similar but yet stronger form than Lord Beerus, I do not look at this situation as being a goodbye of sorts, but rather until we meet again soon, because with what it is that I sense coming in the near future involving these previously resurrected fallen gods of destruction, you do not want to go and miss out on what is about to happen coming up next. So we hope that you all enjoyed today's video, and before you leave, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up by smashing that like button on your way out, as well as also subscribing to Unreal Gaming's channel for tons of new Dragon Ball content. So with that, we thank you all so much for watching, as we'll be seeing you all again for the next one.
Hello. Did you know that you can stay up to date with the latest Dragon Ball content by simply subscribing to Unrelent Gaming?
Also, don't forget to follow on these social media platforms, you sexy son of a bitch.
Roshi.
Silent Cell, me and the fans are having a moment. That's right. I know what you want. Extra long, thick.
That's my guy, man. He be putting in that work. Speaking of putting in work, here I go.
Goku's getting his ass whooped. Oh no.
Leave my dad alone! I can barely move my body!
Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the garden, by the door, in the bedroom, on the floor. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the middle of the night, I'm gonna be there till the morning light. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the garden, by the door, in the bedroom, on the floor. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the middle of the night, I'm gonna be there till the morning light. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the garden, by the door, in the bedroom, on the floor. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the middle of the night, I'm gonna be there till the morning light. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the garden, by the door, in the bedroom, on the floor. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the middle of the